Hello and welcome. You are now looking at meetup.com, and if you're looking to build an online community with individuals in your local area, you can build that community on meetup.com. Prior to the pandemic, Meetup discouraged online meetings on their platform. However, during the pandemic, they relaxed their standards and they not only allowed online discussion, but encouraged it in order for individuals to build community. Meetup is free for individuals to join in order to find a group to fit their parameters to meet new people. Once a person becomes part of Meetup, the algorithm works to try to match that person with interest groups in their chosen interest. And so in some cases, if you want to build an online community, you can build outside of your local area. Now, as of the recording of this video, there is a cost to starting a group with Meetup. There is an upgraded version where the cost is going to be higher. However, you have more tools to run and operate your group. For example, Meetup Pro allows you to connect your autoresponder to the Meetup system. It also allows for more marketing and branding tools for your individual group. Now, the emphasis for Meetup Pro and Meetup in general is still going to be local. And so if you don't have a local interest and you still want to build a group, you may not want to use the Meetup platform and to pay for that platform for your online community. Regardless, Meetup allows you two ways to generate some form of monetary compensation. There is a fundraising tab as well as an event fee tab that you can activate. And the system does have within each group the ability for you to start a discussion with the individuals inside of your group. So it's a good idea for you to check meetup.com again if the online community that you want to start has some form of local interest involved in it. However, we will spend the majority of this course looking outside of the Meetup platform to look at those platforms that you can use regardless of whether you have a local focus. Okay, it's with that thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, if you have a cloud-based course platform like Teachable or Thinkific or one of the other major course platforms, you can create a minor form of community without having to manage an entire community platform. When you create a course inside of the course platform, one of the things you can do is within the course lessons is you can make it so that individuals can comment on individual course lessons. This typically means then you will have the thread turned on so that when individuals come to watch this particular lesson, they'll then be able to comment and participate with both you and the other members of the course. What this will look like to the individuals taking the course is they will then be able to work here in order to post a specific comment. The comment will have their avatar along with it, and you will get notification of that comment. You'll want to make sure that you have notifications turned on inside of your account. And you'll also want to make sure that you instruct students to have their comments turned on when they are participating in the course. Now, inside of Teachable in particular, and most course platforms will allow you to do this, you can change some of the language surrounding comments. So if you have something that is branded that you want the customer to see other than the word comment, you can rebrand that language so that it will be consistent with everything else that you are doing. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. One of the easiest ways to create and maintain community is to start a social media group. And basically, what you're going to do is to make sure that the group is going to be both private and hidden if you're going to do it within Facebook, and that you deliver the URL to the individuals when they make the purchase of being part of your community. What you will have to do manually is you'll need to manage the members, and you'll need to make sure that they are exited from the group when they cease paying, and then when they pick up their payment again, you can add them back to the group. Groups are also available within LinkedIn if that is where your primary community is. And as of the recording of this video, you can create up to 10 groups within LinkedIn. So if you have different levels or different kinds of communities, you can have those individuals placed within specific groups inside of LinkedIn. Now, what you're going to need to do inside of LinkedIn is you'll need to make sure that the group is going to be unlisted. You'll also want to make sure that the permissions are such that the people within the group are unable to invite people that do not make payment for your group. Now you'll need to be careful that everything that you're doing within the group that adheres to the social media platform's terms of service. That includes content and behavior of the individuals within your group. Again, this is a manual process. If you want a more automated process, you will need to use some form of website or cloud-based service to deliver your community services. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. If you use the WordPress platform, there are a number of community-based plugins that you can use in order to add online community functionality to your WordPress website. If you go to your Add Plugins area and you type in Online Community, you will see a number of rated community platforms that you can consider adding to your WordPress website. Now, you are going to need to be aware of the plugin conflicts that could possibly happen with your existing plugins if you choose to add a community platform. One of the best ways to work around this is if you have a control panel for your WordPress website is to go to that control panel and then to install WordPress on an entirely different subdirectory so that you can operate your community platform with a clean install and you can begin to add plugins to your community platform. Now, if you already have users that are part of your WordPress website, what you'll need to do is you'll need to make sure that you can export those users over to your subdirectory. Now, if you do choose to export users to a new site, you'll need to know that this is not going to be a process that works within WordPress natively. You're likely going to need to add some functionality to your site in order to export users to a new site. One other thing that you're going to want to be aware of is that you will be using a user's data in a way they may not have given you permission to do. You will need to make sure that you are in compliance with any regulations within your country or within countries where your customers reside. One of the most well-known community platforms available inside of WordPress is called BuddyPress. BuddyPress is free, but it has a number of plugins available that you can use in order to add functionality to your community on WordPress. Again, what's going to be important in this respect is that all of the plugins that you're going to be using on your WordPress site, you'll need to make sure that they're going to be compatible with BuddyPress, and you'll also need to make sure that BuddyPress is going to be compatible with your hosting and anything else that you are doing. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at ThriveCart.com, and we're looking at ThriveCart as a shopping cart solution mainly because even though you'll have shopping cart capabilities from within your community, it may be difficult for you to add on list building to your community building. So when you're setting up the delivery of your product or community, what you're going to do is you're going to deliver the individual via URL to your community if you're not going to automate that process. But importantly, simultaneously, what you're going to want to do is to make sure that the individual is going to be added to your email marketing list that you are managing in your email service provider. Now, every shopping cart has a way in which this is going to be executed. You're looking at the way to manage this within ThriveCart. However, you'll want to find your shopping cart and the way to add your individual autoresponder. What we're saying here is that when the product is purchased, we're going to have the individual added to a specific email service provider. And we're going to have the individual added to a specific list that we've already set up within our shopping cart. Now, every shopping cart has an integration process where you're going to need to connect your autoresponder with the shopping cart so that your shopping cart will be able to see inside of your account and add individuals to specific lists inside of that account. And you're seeing the integration process for ThriveCart. Now, this will not capture every email address for individuals that are going to be part of your community just because you've captured their purchase email address. In some cases, buyers will use a specific email address for their purchase and specific emails for their products. And so if you're going to automate the collection, you're going to need a process that works to add the individual when they become part of your community to your email marketing list. And to do that, we're going to use third-party cloud-based connector Zapier. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Assuming that you are collecting a name and email address when a person makes a purchase to become part of your community, what you'll also want to do is to attempt to collect the email address of an individual that will be signing up for your community. Now, it is likely that the individual will unsubscribe from at least one of those email addresses. It would be your preference that they unsubscribe from the one that is least reliable. or the one that they check infrequently. Zapier connects two cloud-based services that don't have direct integrations. And so in this case, we're going to connect our community with Zapier and then connect our email service provider to Zapier so that we'll be able to connect the two together. Now, assuming that you're building your community on a course platform like Teachable, you're going to need to first connect Teachable to Zapier. Zapier will ask you about the event that you're going to be doing. And in this case, we're going to say there's going to be a new enrollment in a specific course where you're having your community. And it's here where you're going to connect your Zapier account. Now, every community platform is going to be different in the way that Zapier connects to it. For Teachable, what you'll need to do is you'll need to put in your account email and your account password and your account subdomain. Again, this is going to be specific to Teachable. You'll have to determine what the integration will be for your community platform. Once you've made the connection, Zapier will ask you to test your trigger. What Zapier is doing is it's trying to get enrollment information so that you'll be able to make the connection between your community platform and your email service provider. Once you set up the trigger, which is going to be a new student or new student enrollment in your community platform, is you'll want to then make the connection to your autoresponder. And you'll need to connect your autoresponder in a way similar to the way that you connected your community platform. In this case, we want the event to be that we're going to add or update a subscriber to a specific list. And so in Zapier, what we're going to do is we're going to map the fields so that every time this event happens, it's going to happen for every individual that's going to be enrolled in our community. So we have the list chosen. We then map the email. In this case, we're going to map the first name. And basically what we'll be doing is we will be setting this up so that the fields will be mapped for our specific autoresponder. So once the process is turned on, when an individual joins our community, we will then send a request to have that individual added to our email marketing list. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. You're now looking at MightyNetworks.com. And Mighty Networks is one of the platforms very popular as of the recording of this video for individuals to be able to build, maintain, and expand their network over time. The online community that you build on Mighty Networks is totally customizable and brandable. It also comes with a mobile application that your users will be able to access. And depending on what you decide to put inside of the community, you can execute courses as well as community discussion. Mighty Networks does have a free trial and also has public pricing as of the recording of this video. Now, although there are a number of community-based programs, for the sake of comparison, you'll want to compare Mighty Networks to Circle.so, which also has a free trial. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to compare the features that you want for the plan that you are looking to execute. And it's important to note that this is a competitor of Mighty Networks, and so many of the features that exist within Circle and or Mighty Networks are likely to be copied in some way by both competitors. Importantly, both platforms offer integrations with third-party cloud-based connector Zapier, so that if you are using other platforms, you will be able to connect to Mighty Networks and or Circle with the platforms that you are already using and that you don't want to give up just to work with your community. Now, both platforms are designed to replace your social media activity in a private setting. And so whichever platform you choose, you will be committing to that platform to work with individuals in your community. Both platforms offer the option of being able to monetize your community with payment systems that connect to major payment processors and platforms. Now, because Circle offers us the ability, as of the recording of this video, to offer multiple tiers, we're going to spend the rest of this course looking at online community using Circle.so. In so doing, it's important to note again that Circle is very similar to Mighty Networks and has many of the same properties that you'll be able to execute. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Circle has a free trial, and so we're going to start the process by going through the 14-day free trial with Circle. And we are going to sign up with Circle. Now, the first thing you're going to do is to give your community a specific name. And then you're going to determine your community URL. Now, at the beginning, you are going to see some settings that you will be able to change later if that is what you prefer. Circle is going to ask you if you're going to want to make this a private community. And in most cases, if you're going to be offering a paid community, you will make this a private community. If you do that, the other option goes away. What you're going to see is that you can allow visitors to sign up if this is not going to be a private community. However, we're going to make this a private community. We're then going to click Next. You'll then need to go through a wizard of questions. You'll then answer those questions and then click Next. You can choose to start from scratch, or you can choose from any of the existing Circle templates. You will then have access to the Circle platform to begin building your online community. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. One of the first things you'll want to do is to set up your notifications. And you're going to go to this tab on the left side menu. You're going to click on Notifications. What you'll then see is a gear where you can click in order to set up your notification settings. Now by default, Circle will turn on all of your notifications for all of the activity within your branded platform. You can toggle on or off the notification that you don't want. In terms of new posts, you're going to notice here that you can set your email to receive different levels of posts for different levels of activity. You can also get those notifications when you enter the application. And so you can customize your notification of interaction that you need to be involved with here in the notifications area. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, Circle allows you to organize your community or communities by both spaces and space groups. The main unit for discussion is always going to be a space, and a space will then be housed and captured by a space group. So for example, one of the things you can do is you can create different space groups. We can click on top of this button. We can then add a new space group. We can then customize the space group. Now when you're first starting, one of the things you can do is by default, you can hide this individual space group from those who are not going to be members of this space group. You can also make sure that in the sidebar, the only spaces that individuals that are inside of this space group will be able to see are those that they have joined. You can choose to allow members to create spaces, or you can leave this unticked, which is unticked by default. And what you can say is that anyone that's going to be part of this individual space group, you can make it so that they get access to all of the spaces. And again, that's unticked by default. You can also look at the situation in reverse, so that whenever someone joins a space inside of this group, they'll be added to the entire group. So again, when we create a space group, what we're creating is a holding area for all of the various spaces within the space group. We're going to click Create. And what you're going to see is an entirely different space group. We can also go to the default setting, and we can rename this individual space group. So for example, we can click Edit Space Group. We can then change the name of this space group. And again, you're going to notice that we have all of the same features available to us for this space group also. We can then save, and you'll notice now that we have two separate space groups. And when we want to add in another space group, we can hover over the space group, we can click this button, and we can then add a space group. In terms of limitations, you will not be limited in the number of space groups you can start. You will be limited in the number of spaces that you can start depending on which plan you're going to be a part of. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Within each space group, you can begin to create spaces. And spaces are going to be the main way to organize different discussions in different areas that you want to have with the individuals that are going to be part of your community. So for example, we can go inside of a specific space group. We can then either create a space by clicking this button, or we can just click this button that says Add Space. Now when you create a space, you're going to have to designate what kind of space it's going to be. You can have a space that's going to be a matter of discussion. You can have a specific space that will be an event space. You can have a chat space, or you can have a space that will be designated for your courses. We're going to start by creating a discussion area. So we're going to click Post and then click Next. What you can then do is you can create a name for your space. When you do that, you can designate what kind of icon you're going to have. You can then search for a specific kind of icon to use. And you can choose a specific icon. You're going to have an option here where you can add individuals that are going to be part of the specific space group that you're in, or you can leave this turned off, which is going to be the default. Now, there are going to be different designations for the specific space. You can make it so that anyone inside of your community will be able to see and join the space. You can make it so that the space is going to be private, so that the only individuals that will be able to join the space will be individuals that you invite. But this space will be visible. We can make it so that the space is going to be secret, so the only individuals that will be able to see the space will be those that will be part of the space. What you'll then do is you will then make it so that the individuals that are part of the space, they can be notified for posts within the space by email. You can make it so that they're also notified when they come to the application. Once you do that, you can then click Create Space. And what we're going to do is stop the video here, and we're going to pick it up from customizing the space settings. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Once you have designated your post, you will then have a discussion area. What you can then do to further customize the area is you can go to the space settings. What you're then going to see is the same screen with some other options. Now, we've made this space a secret. However, if we were to make this space so that it was going to be private, individuals that come to the screen and they're not members, they would see a locked screen. We can write those individuals a specific message. You can then add in specific text for the button that people are going to see, and you can send the individuals that click on that button to a specific URL. You can then save the locked screen message. Now, you can make it so that your posts are going to be set up in a specific manner, and we can customize those posts by clicking in this area based on how we want it to appear. Now, one of the things that we can do to customize each space is we can make it so that each space will have a cover image, and we will turn on this cover image. We can then click Save. Once you've done that, you can then click this Upload button. What you can then do is to search for the kind of image that you're going to want for your cover image, and you can type in the word that you want. Once you have it, you can then select a specific image. You can then specify how you want the image to appear. You can then click Save. And you'll notice then that your cover image is then in place. You can then click Save. You are now going to see two additional tabs. You're going to see the Members tab, and this is where you'll be able to keep track of your members. If you want to download and export your members to another platform, you'll be able to do that with a CSV file here in this area. Now, these members will belong specifically to the space that this option is connected to. You are also going to have space options. Now, you're going to see options that you have already customized, but you're going to give your users additional permissions or leave these permissions turned off. For example, you can allow individuals to add others, to create posts, to create their own post title, or to allow cover images for their posts. You can then also make it so that their posts will be hidden from featured areas, or you can leave this toggled off, which is by default. You can give the pinned post a specific label. You can also allow members to sort their own posts, or you can turn this area off. Now, if your space is going to be public, you can make it so that you have search engine optimization for that individual post by using a specific slug, a meta title, a meta description, open graph images, and open graph designations, as well as an image. Again, in most cases, your posts are going to be private because you are bringing people into a specific space, but you can make it so that your space will be available to the search engines. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. What you will now want to do is to invite individuals to this specific space. You can do this by clicking on this link that says Invite some members, or you can go to See All Members. You're going to see a button that says Add Members. And when you click this button, you'll see that one thing you can do is you can import a CSV to add members to this specific area. What you can also do is to tick this default setting so that everyone that's a part of the space group, that this space is in will be added to this specific space. Again, this is not something that you need to have turned on. Now, when you are notifying specific individuals, you can make it so that they're going to be notified by ticking this button. Now, another way to create access to this specific space is to create a specific link. And typically, if you're going to give people access to your space and you're going to do it through a shopping cart, you will be delivering a link to them. And you're going to go to your space group setting. And you're going to see this area. What you're then going to do is to go to this drop-down menu. You're then going to click on Add Members. What you're then going to see is there's going to be an area here that says Invite Them First. You're going to click that link. And you're going to notice this area where you can create a link. Now, the other way that you can access that link is to click on your space area. What you're then going to see is that there's an area here that says Invite Member. That's also going to bring you to this screen. So once you're at this screen, you're going to click this link that says Share an Invitation Link. And you're going to give this invitation link a name. Now it's at this point when you can designate which spaces are going to be part of this invitation link. In this case, we can choose one specific space, or we can choose multiple spaces if that is what we want for this invitation link. Now for this case, we can make the designation based on the space groups, or optionally, we can leave this area turned off to this invitation link. If you have tags, you can have the individual tagged when they are coming in through this specific link. And when the individual becomes part of a specific area, you can designate where they're going to land when they first become a member of the space. And so we can make a default area for them to land in once they become part of the space. Once you do that, you can then click Create. You will then have a link in order to invite people to your individual space. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, once you begin to send individuals to the space, you're probably going to have multiple ways in which an individual can become part of the space. In that case, you're going to want to create some specific tags for that space. We can then create the specific tag. And within Circle, we can make it so that the tag either shows on the member profiles or that it doesn't. In those cases, we would turn this off so that the tag does not show to the member. We can then apply the tag to specific individuals. However, in this case, we're just going to create the tag. What we then want to do is to go back to our invitation link. We're then going to go to our invitation link, and we're going to edit that invitation link. Once we have that invitation link edited, what we're then going to do is to come down into the member tags. We're going to click this area, and we're going to choose the specific member tag. We're then going to save the changes. We then have our invitation link with a specific tag. What we're then going to do is we're going to copy the link. Once we copy the link, we can then take this link to our shopping cart so that we can deliver this link to an individual that purchases access to our site. And we are back inside of ThriveCart. And ThriveCart has a specific way in which this shopping cart delivers the link to a person that makes a purchase. It's called their fulfillment area. And so in this case, you would designate that you're going to send them to a specific URL. You will then place in the specific success URL, and that's going to be the URL for your space invitation. And so what's going to happen is that when the individual makes the purchase through ThriveCart, they're then going to be sent to the invitation link. If you have the individual added to a specific email marketing list upon purchase, one thing that you can do is to make it so that when that first email is delivered, that they're going to be able to click the link, which is part of the invitation, to be added to your specific space. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You can also create a course inside of Circle. To do that, we're going to go to this area. We're going to add a space. When we get to the add space area, what we're going to do is we're going to click on course. We're going to leave this course within a course group, and then we're going to give the course a name. We're also going to give the course a specific icon. Now what we can do is if there are individuals that are already part of the space group, we can add those individuals to this course, or we can leave this unticked which we're going to have by default. We can then click Create Space in order to start the course creation process. You're going to notice inside of the course that there is a link where you can edit your lessons. You can then add in a specific section for your lesson. You can then save the section, and then within each section, you can then add in specific lessons. You can save the lesson name. Once you have the lesson name saved, you can then edit the lesson by clicking this link. You can then add in specific media for your course. Once you've added the media, you can then save the lesson, and you'll see that your lesson will then be available. You can choose to make the content downloadable by clicking this button to make the content downloadable. You can make it so that individuals can comment on the lesson, or you can disable this feature. Once you've made all of the changes, you can then click Save. What you'll notice is that the lesson will then be in draft mode. When you're ready to go live with your lesson, you'll then click the Published tab for the lesson. If you want to view the lesson, you can click this button so that you'll see how the lesson is actually going to look. And you will then see your lesson preview. You can also add links to the course. What you can do here is you can create a specific link, and your links will then be available. You can also create folders for your course, and within the folder, you can add in links specific to that folder as you have it named. Once you've added all the elements to the course, you can then click this button to preview the course. Now before the preview, we're going to make this lesson live. We're going to click Done. What we're then going to do is view the actual course. And you'll be able to see your work in real time. So Circle allows you to create an online course and to use it as its own space inside of your space group. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now from the course preview, we will return to the course dashboard. And if you go to the very top and you pull the drop-down menu, you're going to notice that you can make more customizations. To start the customization, we will click on Customize. You will first need to determine what level of privacy you want for the course. And you can make it so that the course will be visible, but only those that have paid or that have been invited will be part of the course. Or you can make it so that the course will be hidden altogether from everyone who is not part of the actual course. Once you've made a choice about access, you can then click Save. Now, in addition to access, you're going to notice that you can also customize the image. So what we're going to do for the sake of this video is we're going to remove the image, we're going to save this element, and we're going to go right back to the upload area. Once we have the image, we can then click Save. We can then save the image to our course. You'll then notice across the top that you can make changes to the lock screen. And what you'll notice are three customizable areas: the banner, the description, and the heading. Now you'll notice that the banner does have a call to action and a button. You can design all of these elements here in this area. You can design the description, and you'll be able to make changes here in this area. You can make changes to the call to action, and you'll see here that there is a button label. You can determine where the button link will go when the customer clicks the button. Once you've completed making changes to the lock screen, you can then save those changes. You'll be able to track the number of members that are part of your course. You'll also have options available for SEO for the course if you want it to be visible to the search engines. In order to provide access to the course, you're going to go to your course menu. You're going to click this link that says Invite Member. And again, you can add individuals by CSV, or you can add everyone that will be part of the space group. What you can also do is to go back. You can then click this area that says Invite Member. We can then create an invitation link. Now for this link, we're going to choose a specific space, and we're going to make this invitation link our course. We're not going to change the space group because we want the invitation link to just be based on our course. And we can make a specific space the default space. Once we have created our invitation link, we can click Create. What we now have is a link that we can deliver to individuals in order to attend our course. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, one of the things you can do inside of Circle is to create a special space for events. To do that, you're going to go to your space group. You're then going to add a specific space. And what you're going to do is you're going to create an event space. You're then going to click Next. You're going to give your event space a name. And you're going to give that name an icon. And again, just as you can with any other space, you can make it so that everyone who is part of the space group will then become part of your event space. You can make it so that anyone can access your event space if that's the way you want it. You can make it private like all of the other posts, or secret. In this case, we're going to leave the event space open. We're going to make sure that individuals get notifications via email as well as via in-app. Now there's one particular aspect of the event space is that you can auto RSVP space members to new events. We're going to enable this. What we're then going to do is click Create Space. You can create a new event within the space. To do that, you're going to click New Event. You will then give your event a title. You will indicate the host. You will set the time, and you'll make it so that if this is going to be a repeating event, you can indicate that. You can set the location, and in this case, you can make it so that the location can either be a link, you can make it so that it will be in person if you're going to do that, or you can make it so that it will be a Circle live stream. Now what you can also do with this particular Circle live stream is you can make it so that the recording will automatically be posted to the event, and you can toggle on to disable RSVPs. In this case, we're going to leave this turned on. We're going to click Set Access. The Circle will immediately begin to ask you how you want to structure your live stream. What we're going to do is stop the video here, and we're going to pick it up from structuring our live stream for this specific event. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now structuring the live stream that we're setting up within a specific event in our Circle account. You'll notice here that we can set up the live stream so that we can either use the speaker view or the gallery view. You can determine if access is going to be open or if access is going to be private. If you leave access open, everyone that's part of your community will be invited to the live stream. You can also make it so that the event will be private. Now in this case, we are going to leave the event open. We can make it so that the event will be hidden from non-attendees. This is toggled off by default. We can turn it on if that is what we want to do. We're then going to click on Notifications. We can choose to toggle on or off all of the email reminders and in-app notifications. We can also customize a specific thank you message for individuals that sign up for the live stream. And again, this is toggled off by default. What we're then going to do is create the draft for our live stream. You will then have a live stream event, and you'll be able to customize the details. You can customize the date and the time. You can customize the location of the live stream. You can customize who will be invited. You can customize the notifications. And you also have advanced options such as SEO and attendees. What you'll notice here before you publish is that you will have access to a shareable link so that you can give individuals access to the live stream. Once you have verified that the details are what you want them to be, you can then publish the event for your live stream. We can then choose to publish this event. When it's time to attend your live stream, you can go into the live stream. You're going to notice that you're going to get some indication as to when the live stream is going to start. When you do this, you can click this button when you're ready to go live, and you can start the live stream process. Now that the live stream is set inside of our event, the next step is to actually go live with the live streaming event. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. When the time comes for your event to start, you can then click this button that says Join the Stream. You will then be able to customize your mic and your camera settings. Once you do that, you will then be able to then click this button that says Enter Backstage. Once you're in the backstage area, you will have several controls. You'll have information on the stream. You'll have your device settings. So you can set your webcam, your microphone, and the audio output. You'll also have control over those elements here in this area. Once the stream is over and you have completed your recording, you can then click this button that says End Stream. You can then end the stream. Now, once you have given the recording time to render, what you can do is you can go to your dashboard area. You can then go to this area that says Live Streams. And you are then going to be able to see any recordings that you have available to you that you can download to your hard drive. Now, if we go back inside of the event, you'll notice here that there is now a recording that can be played by individuals that will come to the event. Because of the event that we set up in the beginning and the fact that we set up our live stream within that event. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You can also go live without an event. If you look down in your left-hand corner, you're going to see a button here that says Go Live. You can click that button. What you're going to do is you're going to give your live stream a title, and you're going to give your live stream a URL. Now, this URL is going to be important because you're going to give that URL to people in order to attend your live stream if you intend to make it private. Again, if we want the live stream to be made available to us in our recording area, we're going to leave this ticked on. We're going to click Set the Live Stream Access. We can then determine that the stream access is going to be private. And in that case, we can go straight to test our video. What you're going to notice here in this area is you also have a share link for your live stream. So what you have now is a posting area. You also now have a share link available that you can give people in order to attend your live event. You're then going to click on Enter Backstage, and when you're ready, you can do the live stream. What you'll want to do is you'll want to pass on the link to the post as well as the link to the live stream so that individuals will be able to attend. You can then click Go Live in order to go live. Now, the stream will take some time to initialize. The stream will then be live and you will then be recording. Once you have completed your live stream, you can then click End Stream. And basically, you can go live inside your Circle account even without an event. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now ready to begin creating posts for your invited members. To do that, you're going to go to your posting area and click New Post. What you'll first notice is that you can add a cover to your post. You'll click this area. You can either upload a graphic or you can use the graphics inside of your posting area. You can choose your photo for your post. Once you've done that, you can give your post a title. You can include video inside the post. You can either upload a video or you can embed a video from Vimeo or YouTube. You can include an image in your post. You can create a GIF for your post. You can create an emoticon for your post. And you can attach a document to your post. You are going to see post settings. And you can customize the effect of your post. One of the things that you'll note is that you can include custom HTML inside of your post. Now you can publish your post immediately, or you can use this arrow, and you can schedule your post for later. What you can also do is save your post as a draft in order to use for later. You can always come back to the draft and choose to publish the post or to schedule the post. Now, the individual that will be a member of your group will see your post. They'll then be able to comment back to you as well as to like your post. They can then post their own comment. Typically, what will happen is when you come into the application, you will then see a notification. You will see that someone has commented on your post as well as liked your post. If you click that activity, you will then be able to respond accordingly. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video or in another course.